Hello everyone, welcome to another Warrior DNA Sunday, 5 p.m. every Sunday, coming at you with about 15 minutes of motivation, hope, hopefully to inject into your week something for you to think about that's going to set you on fire, set you on the right course to do the right things with the right people so the right things will happen. Give you an opportunity to have a little bit of a tweak adjustment every Sunday. This is an opportunity for you to hit the reset button on your life. Many of you today probably went to church. You probably got a great message. Some of you have been chilling out at the lake. Some of you are on vacation, and some of you are passionately focused on your business this week, ready to make things happen. No matter what you've done today, I want to encourage you to hit the reset button. What I'm about to share with you in the next 15 minutes is going to rock your world. It's going to help you identify where are you at this stage of your life. I'm going to tell you a crazy story. That's why this is titled Naked in the Chicago Airport, and I mean butt naked. You're going to hear an amazing story that happened to me. And something that I really believe is going to make you think this week about your business, about your family, about your life, and about how you can intentionally do life this week in the quadrant of freedom. Now, before we do that, I want to recognize our share like winners. Every week, those of you who share this post with your team, with your friends, with your associates, and like this post, we actually pull a name out of, we just pulled it actually, and it looks like this week's winner is Marie Kesey. Awesome. Okay, so Marie, we are going to have a training series on CD. It's going to be a 4 CD series available to you. We're going to give that to you. We'll connect you. Denise Garrick, my personal assistant, will connect with you and make sure that you get that. So I'm very excited for you. Congratulations. That's actually a big win. That 4 CD training series that we're giving away, they're all going like, what? Marie, you're going to get that. I hope that it really blesses you. It's going to be about unleashing your full potential. Kind of goes parallel with my book, Mission Possible, Unleashing Your Full Potential. So that's for you. Those of you that want to be in the drawing this week, like, share, and you will be given a placement. Every time you like it and share it, you'll be given a placement in our drawing as well. Okay, let's get started. I want you to think about today, Warrior DNA obviously talks about the DNA of a warrior is having ridiculous faith and courageous leadership even in the midst of adversity. Now, warrior DNA, obviously, a warrior isn't proven in the good times. A warrior is proven in battle. When things are overwhelming, when things are strong, when you're going for a goal bigger than yourself, when you're reaching beyond what other people are reaching or reaching beyond normal, you're going for that big, hairy, audacious goal. Other people say, you should shoot for this. This is doable. And you look at that and go, I don't want doable. I don't want mediocrity. I don't want normal. Boom. You break out of mediocrity and you go for the extraordinary. You go for the supernatural. You go for the impossible. And doing that, you set a standard for the people around you. So I want to talk to you today about maybe what quadrant of life are you living in. This weekend I had the blessing and the privilege to talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and business leaders in a direct sales event. Now in this event, of course, everybody's coming, they're hungry entrepreneurs, but I shared this little example that I want you to think about this week. Basically, there are 4 types of people. And I want you to identify yourself. The first is what we would call laborers. Now, laborers here, they're like the blue-collar workers, people that fix things. Maybe you're somebody who does a lot of painting or lawn work, things that you actually have to put in a lot of effort, hours, in order to get paid. Believe it or not, there's actually a lot of doctors and lawyers that would be considered blue-collar workers as well because they are tied to their position. They cannot leave. They're basically trading time for dollars. If they don't show up with time, they don't get paid dollars. Well, that quadrant is really a quadrant literally of slavery. You're enslaved to the operations of doing. If you stop doing, you stop earning. And really, you want to think, even if you're in that position, there's no shame in it. In fact, I've got my 17-year-old son. He thrives in this right now. He fixes phones. He power washes. He's moving boxes. He's doing everything he possibly can right now to raise money. I said, honey, do you got a girlfriend? He says, Mom, I'm making bank. Girls are expensive. So his mind right now is to make money. But in addition to that, we've taught him how not to live in that quadrant only. This is where I'm going to talk to you about the value of multiple streams of income. So if you find yourself there, just open up your mind. In fact, I pray that right now your mind will be open so you can see beyond where you're at to a place that I believe is going to take you out of any and out to a place where you've maybe never even dreamed possible for yourself or for your family. I want you to start thinking legacy, thinking passing down generation to generation, something bigger than yourself. Well, if you're trading time for dollars, then if you stop and your time on this earth ends, unless you've built up some really good equity accounts, you've got some residuals built up somewhere, you've got some investments, and you know the stock market, you just never know. They're saying there's going to be a recession. That's probably not the best way to leave legacy. So watch this. What's the second quadrant? The second quadrant is what I would call the corporate rat race. Now, I've been blessed to live in all of these. I've been seasoned through them all. When I was young, I did everything you can possibly imagine. When I was 16 years old, I had a job. I worked at a place called Eckerd's, which would be like Walgreens. That lasted about a month. I didn't like that because I didn't feel like, I felt like I could do so much more for money. I was aerobics instructor, like doing like 2 aerobics classes a day. But again, I had to show up for class in order to get paid. I had numerous jobs, like I was a model, but I had to show up and model if anything ever went wrong and I had some kind of breakout on my face. I could lose that job, or I'd go on go-sees. I was a, singer and did a lot of musicals, so I'd go on go-sees. If I didn't get picked for the job, I didn't get paid. Again, I understood the value of trading time for dollars, but I didn't like that being my only source of income. Corporate rat race. Well, this is interesting because the corporate rat race, I've been senior vice president for a couple of companies, very large companies actually, and in that season, I loved it. The pay is great, 6-figure income, you got equity in the company, but ultimately when you're in the corporate rat race, you are chained to a job. You're chained to a desk. You get titles, you get position, but what you give up is time freedom. And in the corporate rat race, what happens is you keep thinking, if I just get to that next level, if I just get that next promotion, it'll be better. I'll have some breathing room. But what happens is when you get to that next promotion, next level, well, I say next devil, because you got just so many more responsibilities. You've got more people you're overseeing. So even though the pay was great, what I didn't have was the time freedom that I wanted with my kids to be able to travel when I wanted to. Even when I traveled, I was always having to call back to make sure everything was good at the office. I was actually, in one of my positions, I was the person that was responsible for all of the rebranding of the company and corporate transitions, which means I had to fire people, right? So here's the thing, a lot of pressure. I mean, every time I had to let somebody go, I'd call in my mom. She'd fly in from Oklahoma to be there for me emotionally, because although I can be a really tough cookie, I always think of the value, what that's going to do for that family and how they're going to have to go through transition, right? So the corporate rat race comes with a lot of pressure. The next thing is traditional ownership. Now let me talk to this for just a second, because we've been involved in starting some pretty amazing startup companies. Now I'll just speak to one of them that my brother and my husband started in the game room of their house, and it ended up going public, and 49% equity owner was Carl Icahn. Crazy. My brother and his wife, I watched them grow through unbelievable stress taking that public. And when we watched all of that take place, and when we've been involved in traditional ownership, the risk is so high. The money investment is so high. Right now, if you want to have a traditional, like a Starbucks franchise, $385,000. Most people don't have that kind of money. And what it does, you think this is stress? You think this is stress? Get into this quadrant and everybody's your responsibility. All the employees. We had one company that had 400 employees. We had another company that just on the customer service monthly was $1.2 million for our call center. When things go wrong, the responsibility of all of those employees and people counting on you, it's on your shoulder. The pressure. That's why I see a lot of people in traditional ownership with heart issues. Okay? So where do we want to be? We want to be in this quadrant right here. This quadrant, if you'll notice, is freedom. Why is it freedom? It's time freedom. It's life freedom. It can be financial freedom. What is this? This is leveraged income. What is leveraged income? Leveraged income is owning your own business, but not a traditional ownership where you're spending tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Leveraged income means that you're starting your own home-based business with a company that's already proven, a direct sales company, for example. We've obviously got our life invested right here with ACN, Essential Services. So finding a business that fits your DNA, fits your character values, fits what you're passionate about, fits something that you can truly give yourself to, but that doesn't have a high startup cost, but gives you an opportunity with no ceiling. No ceiling. Now, why is this important? Why is it important for you to get here? Because everyone that lives here, they're living lives of quiet desperation. They may look like everything's great. They may be driving fancy cars. They may seem to have everything going on the outside, but on the inside, a lot of them can make money. They're really good at making money, but they're horrible at doing life. Broken relationships, stress, heart disease, cancer. And the reason why I want you to really think about diversifying your income and getting here is because it has everything to do with giving you freedom. Now, I want to tell you a story. So a couple years ago, I was actually flying back from a major event. I was speaking and singing at this event. There were tens of thousands of people there. At the event, I usually have time, those types of events, usually have time to change clothes before the chauffeur comes and gets me and takes me to the airport. Well, this time it was running late, and so my driver came, and quickly, in my suit, I was like in fancy jewelry and had like a St. John's, something you would never wear just to an airport, right? Heels on. And they came and got me, and I'm thinking, oh, I can't wait to get to the airport to be able to change. Well, I get there, and I'm hustling through the, security and check-in, and I get to my gate thinking, okay, this is great, because I had a change of clothes in my carry-on, and I get to my gate, and I realize that I have about 15 minutes, and so I quickly, 15 minutes, and then, of course, 30 minutes, the 15 minutes till they start boarding. So immediately I turned to go down to the restroom, and when I did, I heard this squealing, screaming, like as if somebody had a bomb tied to them, screaming, and a lady running down the hallway. Think about all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people running down the hallway completely naked. Completely naked, screaming, God help me, God help me. She's running down the hallway. Now I am in the hall and I'm going down, or the big hallway there, going towards the bathroom. She comes running straight for me, screaming, God help me, God help me. And she drops right at my knees and says, God help me. Now why she dropped at my legs, I'm not exactly sure, other than to say I think God knew I would do the right thing at the right time so the right things could happen in her life. When she fell at my legs and started screaming, now again, remember, I'm all dressed up. I look like I'm coming straight off stage. I immediately reach down and I throw my body over her to cover her naked body. And I whispered in her ear and I said, you've come to the right place. You're okay. I'm covering you right now. We're going to walk to the bathroom. God loves you. He's not forgotten you. I don't know what's going on, but walk with me. Now, in that moment, I'm thinking to myself, if the cops show up, this looks crazy. I'm literally holding a naked woman in my arms. She's walking backwards, and I'm walking this way to get her to the bathroom. Now, I've left my luggage. A sweet young man takes off his shirt, pulls my luggage behind us, puts it over her back, and I walk this lady into the bathroom with my luggage. And I'm thinking to myself, where are your clothes? She took her clothes, and she stuffed them down the toilet. Some of them were in the trash can, but they were definitely not able to be worn. There was like a purse and a shoe in the trash can. I took some clothes out of my bag thinking I was going to put them on me. And I told her, I want you just to put these on yourself. She says, I can't take your clothes. And I said, I want you to tell me what's going on. Well, here's the story. She had just had 2 very, very personal deaths happen in a matter of 2 weeks. She was on the plane headed to her daughter's wedding reception. Doctors had her on antidepressants, and she had been drinking. Put all of that together, The lady had a nervous breakdown in the middle of the Chicago airport, takes her clothes off, and starts running down the hall screaming, "God help me." Now here's my point. Didn't matter. When I met her family that day after praying for her and loving on her and getting her the help she needed, getting her clothed, I went out and I met her family. Absolutely normal. Not weird family, not poor family, not some type of off-the-wall backwoods family. Nice golf clothes, very, very beautiful family living in quiet desperation. And the reason why I share this story to you is not just to tell you a story about a naked lady, but to tell you there are people. When I walked back to the gate to check in, people were looking at me laughing, and they were like, "What was that about? I mean, why did she come to you?" And I looked at them, and immediately knowing that I had an opportunity to leave one more imprint, I looked at them and I said, "Hey, let's face it. All of us at one time or another in our day thought, we would love to run naked down the airport, screaming, freaking out over things that have happened in our life." I said, she just had the guts to do it. Here's my point. Whatever business you're in, whatever product you're selling, whatever goal you're going after, whatever rank you're trying to achieve, never forget, you are coming in. That business is not so that you will just make money. It's so that you will come across people living in quiet desperation and give them a hope and a future. Do not be afraid to share your product or service with other people. You have no idea. They just might be about to strip down naked in the airport. And I encourage you, be bold, be courageous, be brave. Share your business with people. Make an intention this week to go out of your way. I don't care if you are afraid or if you are intimidated. Get past yourself. That's pride. Get past your ego, because there are people right now living in quiet desperation, thinking this is all life has to offer. Show them freedom. Show them hope. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." Be that hope for someone this week. Have a great week, everybody. Remember, now is the time. This is the place, and you are the one to help us make life better for many. God bless everyone.